So student, now I am going to the next part of acid, base and salt. You see, chemical for chemicals from common salt. Common salt means sodium chloride NaCl. By now you have learned that the salt formed by the combination of hydrochloric acid and sodium hydroxide solution is called sodium chloride. So whenever sodium hydroxide reacts with hydrochloric acid, it will form sodium chloride. We have already discussed about this salt. This is the salt that you use in food. You must have observed in the activity the above activity that it is a neutral salt. Why is it a neutral salt? Because you see, hydrochloric acid is a strong acid and sodium hydroxide is a strong base. Due to the reaction of strong acid and strong base, we know that we will get neutral salt. That is why sodium chloride is a neutral salt. Seawater contains many salts dissolved in it. Sodium chloride is separated from these salts. So what's happened in seawater? Many salts are dissolved. Sodium chloride is separated from these salts. Deposits of solid salt are also found in several parts of the world. These large crystals are often brown due to impurities. This is called a rock salt. So কি হয় সাগৰৰ বেদত কি থাকে সাগৰৰ তলিত কিছুমান তাৰ মাইক্ৰ অৰ্গানিজম বা বিভিন্ন অৰ্গানিজম বিলাক কি হয় আফটাৰ ডেড হোৱাৰ পিছত ডিকেইং হৈ এটা ষ্টৰ হৈ থাকে লেয়াৰ এটা হৈ থাকে এই লেয়াৰটো কি হয় ইম্পিউৰিটিজ থকাৰ কাৰণে কি হয় ব্ৰাউন কালাৰ হয় আৰু ইয়াক কি বুলি কয় ৰক সল্ট বুলি কয় বেডস অফ ৰক সল্টস were found form when seas of বাইগন এজিছ ড্ৰাইড আপ বাইগন মিন্স তোমাৰ মাইক্ৰ অৰ্গানিজম সেইবিলাক অৰ্গানিজমৰ কথা কৈছে rock salts is mined like coal কয়লা যেনেকৈ খান্দি উলিওৱা হয় তেনেকৈ কি কৰা হয় ইয়াকো খান্দি উলিওৱা হয় so this is rock salt from which we get our sodium chloride that is we use in our cooking purpose so you must have heard about Mount Manganese Dundee Marsh so did you know that sodium chloride was such an important symbol in our struggle for freedom freedomৰ সময়টো কি হৈছিল এই struggle কৰিছিল ডিমকক লৈ আৰু এই কথাটো ইয়াতে উল্লেখ কৰিছে জানক ইয়াতে এটা কোৱেশ্চন হ'ব হেতু হৈছে what is rock salt so rock salt what is rock salt কোৱেশ্চনটো লিখিবা আৰু এনসাৰটো ইয়াৰ পৰা লিখি দিলেই হ'ব কোনখিনি লিখিবা deposit of solid are also found in the several parts of the world these large crystals are often brown due to impurities this is called rock salt এইখিনি লিখি দিবা so কোৱেশ্চনটো আছিল what is rock salt এই কোৱেশ্চনটো এনসাৰ বুকৰ পৰা লিখি দিবা Next, common salt, a new material for chemicals. So common salt means sodium chloride, which is used for our cooking purpose. The common salt thus obtained is an important raw materials for various materials of daily use, such as sodium hydroxide, NaOH, baking soda, the baking soda, washing soda. Okay, the symbol for baking soda is NaHCOT and washing soda is Na2COT 10H2 which is also called as sodium carbonate decahydrate Na2COT 10H2 এটা এপিসোড পাম সিম্বলটো পাম আমি এপিসোড বাৰো সিম্বলটো ইয়াতে আছে চাবা এটো Na2COT 10H2 this is washing soda this is pronounced as sodium carbonate decahydrate so whenever there is water molecules this is pronounced as hydrate so there is 10 that is why it is decahydrate okay so we'll study it after a few times so next see sodium let us see how one substance is used for making baking soda washing soda bleaching powder and many more so baking soda symbol for baking soda is NaHCOT washing soda is Na2COT 10H2 bleaching powder symbol for bleaching powder is CaOCl2 actually the symbol for bleaching powder is commonly called as calcium chloride hypochlorite so calcium hypochlorite actually this is not calcium chloride hypochlorite this is calcium hypochlorite okay calcium hypochlorite so symbol for calcium hypochlorite is here is it that is CaOCl2 okay but in some books the symbol is written as Ca CaOCl bracket 2. Here this is known as hypochlorite radical, which is the valency 1, calcium is the valency 2. Actually the main symbol for bleaching powder is calcium hypochlorite. This is CaOCl whole bracket 2, so don't forget it. Next, sodium hydroxide. When electricity is passed through an aqueous solution of sodium chloride, which is called brine, this is also known as brine. So question is said asking what is brine? What is brine? If this question is asked or said, then you should write this: the aqueous solution of sodium chloride is called brine. It decomposes to form sodium hydroxide. Here you see, this is sodium chloride, this is water, and it decomposes to form sodium hydroxide. Okay, the process is called chloro-alkali process. So what is chloro-alkali process? This is the questions. So you should write the question as well as answer also. Of the product form chloro for chlorine and alkali for sodium hydroxide. You see, this reaction is called chloro-alkali process. That is, you see, this is chlorine and this is alkali. Okay, this is alkali, this is chlorine. That is why as the chlorine and alkali is formed, this reaction is also called as chloro-alkali process. Okay, so what is chloro-alkali process? If this question is asked to you, then you should write this answer, that the reaction where the sodium hydroxide and chlorine is produced whenever the sodium chloride is decomposed. This reaction is called chloro-alkali process, as there is chlorine and alkali is produced as a product. Okay, so next, see, chlorine gas is given off at the anode. So chlorine, as you know, the chlorine gas, okay, chlorine is negatively charged, but chlorine gas is not negatively charged, this is chargeless. And hydrogen gas at the cathode, so hydrogen will be deposited as positive charge. So whenever this is gas, that is, it is molecule, this is also molecule, this will not carry any charge. So whenever it will carry charge, then it will deposit it on the cathode. Will the anion will go to, that is, the negative will go to the positive, and positive will go to the positive charge will go to the negative. Okay, so this is called cathode, and the ions which is attached to it is called cation, and anion will go to the anode, which is the positive electrode. Okay, chlorine gas is given up at the anode, and hydrogen gas at the cathode. Sodium hydroxide solution is formed near the cathode. The three products produced in this process are all useful. Can get useful how you so in the chloro-alkali process, you see, this is a battery, this is anode. The positive electrode is called anode, and the negative electrode is called cathode. Positive electrode মানে হৈছে তোমাৰ battery positive লগত connect কৰা তাৰ ডালক আমি anode বুলি কম, আৰু negative লগত connect কৰা ডালক cathode বুলি কম. So whenever the sodium chloride is decomposed, then what's happen? You see, sodium hydroxide, chlorine and hydrogen gas is produced. So the produce chlorine and hydrogen gas. Okay, this is sodium, this is hydroxide, this is chlorine, this is hydrogen. So produce hydrogen and chlorine gas will deposit it on cathode and anode respectively. You see the uses of this: the water treatment, swimming pools, PPC, disinfectants, CFCs, pesticides. So CFC means chlorofluorocarbons. So pesticides means which kill the pest, harmful pest in our paddy field. So these are used in the chlorine. It is in the water treatment, that is the cleaning of water, swimming pools, PVC, polyvinyl chloride, then disinfectants, then CFC means chlorofluorocarbons. So chlorofluorocarbons has the symbols is chlorofluorocarbon, that is CF2Cl2 and CFCCl2, CFCl2 and CFCl2. So this is called chlorofluorocarbon. Okay, so next, Here it is. Hydrogen is used as fuels, margarines, ammonia for fertilizers. Okay, so ammonia is used in the fertilizers. So these are the uses of hydrogen gas which is produced in the chloroalkali process. Again, you see brine containing sodium hydroxide, then degreasing materials, soaps and detergents, paper making, artificial fibers. So these are the products which is used in different types of factories and different which is used in different purpose. Next, you see bleaching powder. So you see you have already come to know that chlorine is produced during the electrolysis of aqueous sodium chloride, that is brine. So chlorine gas is produced. You see this is chlorine gas which is produced. So this chlorine gas is again used to prepare bleaching powder which is allowed to react with calcium hydroxide. This chlorine gas is used for manufacturing of bleaching powder which is known as calcium hypochlorite. Bleaching powder is produced by the action of chlorine on dry slag lime. Slag lime means calcium hydroxide. Bleaching powder is represented as CaOCl2, that is calcium hypochlorite, T, not D. So though the actual composition is quite complex, so calcium hydroxide whenever reacts with chlorine gas which is produced in the chloroalkali process will form calcium hypochlorite or bleaching powder as well as water. Okay, so next, bleaching powder. What is the uses of bleaching powder? So bleaching powder is used for bleaching cotton and linen in textile industries, for bleaching wood pulp in paper factory, and for bleaching washed clothes in laundry. So bleach means ki kora, safa kora. So in case of bleaching, what's happened? This is used as an oxidizing agent in many chemical industries. So what do you mean by oxidizing agent? You see, as this contains oxygens. Okay, this contains oxygens, so it can supply oxygen to another substance. So whenever a substance can donate oxygen to another or supply oxygen to another substance, then this is called oxidizing agents. So you see bleaching powder is also act as an oxidizing agent, that is it can provide or supply oxygen to another substance to make drinking water free from germs. Okay, this is very important. So it is used to make drinking water free from germs. So bleaching powder is used for killing the germs in water. Okay, next, baking soda. So there should be a question, that is how bleaching powder write the questions, and it's also what how bleaching powder is produced, what is the uses of bleaching powder. So write the uses of bleaching powder from your textbook, as well as what is the process of producing bleaching powder, that is which is mentioned in your textbook, or you should note from your textbook. Next, baking soda. The baking soda is commonly used in the kitchen for making tasty, crispy pakoras, etc. Sometimes it is added for faster cooking. The chemical name of the compound is sodium hydrogen carbonate, which is called baking soda. Okay, it is produced using sodium chloride as one of the raw materials. So we have already found that bleaching powder is in bleaching powder, what's even chlorine gas is used, which is found by the decomposition of aqueous sodium chloride, that is brine. So next, sodium chloride is again used to produce sodium hydrogen carbonate, that is baking soda. So you may be perhaps get puzzles in case of sodium baking soda and baking powder. So both the symbols are sodium hydrogen carbonates. Okay, this is the sodium hydrogen carbonate symbol for baking soda and baking powder. But there is a difference between baking soda and baking powder. You see, in baking powder, what's happened? There is a acid known as tartaric acid. So baking powder ki thakibo tartaric acid thake, or baking soda ki nai, acid nai. So baking soda কাম কৰিব লাগিলে কি হয়, এসিড আৰু কি হয়, লিকুইড মিডিয়াম বিচাৰে, কিন্তু বেকিং পাউডাৰ তোমাৰ এক্টিভেট হ'বৰ কাৰণে কাম কৰিবৰ কাৰণে কি লাগে তাক খালি লিকুইড মিডিয়াম এটা লাগে বেকিং পাউডাৰক ইয়াক কিন্তু এচিড নালাগে বিকজ ইট কণ্টেইনছ টাৰ্টাৰিক এচিড ওকে সো টাৰ্টাৰিক এচিডৰ চিম্বলটো মই তোমালোকক আগতে কৈ দিছিলোঁ নিশ্চয় মনত আছে 46C6H6O6 এইটো টাৰ্টাৰিক এচিড আছিলে সো it was a difference. So if you are asked to write the difference between the baking soda and baking powder, then you may write this difference. So next, did you check the pH of sodium hydrogen carbonate in activity 2.14? Sodium hydrogen carbonate is a basic salt. That is why the pH will be more than 7. Okay. So can you correlate why it can be used to neutralize an acid? So acid neutralize koribole kiya use kora hoy karon to hoise ki so acid neutralize koribole ami basic salt eta lagibo so sodium hydrogen carbonate is one of the basic salt okay that is why it will neutralize the acid. It is a mild non corrosive basic salt. The following reaction take place when it is heated during cooking. আমি কুকিংত যেতিয়া হিট কৰোঁ তেতিয়া কি হয় হিট কৰিলে সোডিয়াম হাইড্ৰোজেন কাৰ্বনেট আছিলে হিট কৰিলে কি হ'ব ইয়াৰ পৰা সোডিয়াম কাৰ্বনেট হ'ল ওয়াটাৰ ওলাই গ'ল আৰু কাৰ্বন ডাই অক্সাইড গেছ ওলাই গ'ল ওকে সো কি হ'ব এগেইন চাবা whenever we heated the sodium hydrogen carbonate it will form sodium carbonate water and carbon dioxide. So water and carbon dioxide is found within the sodium hydrogen carbonate okay and it is separated whenever we heated it. So sodium hydrogen carbonate to sodium carbonate to lege jay so pispala question ota ase ei question to amar ei reaction to lagibo so mono rakhiba sodium hydrogen carbonate has got various uses in the household using of sodium baking soda moi kotha matto kolo so for making baking powder which is a mixture of baking soda and a mild edible acid such as tartaric acid. I have already mentioned it that baking soda baking powder ki thake tomar baking powder bonabor karone use korba karone making korba karone baking soda use kora hoy teta tomar baking soda powder ki thakibo a mild edible acid eta thake such as tartaric acid so yat log hoy thake when baking powder is heated or mixed in water the following reaction take place saba jetia ami heat koro tetia ei reaction to hoy bo so carbon dioxide produced during the reaction can cause bread or cake to rise making them soft and spongy. Is a bread or cake like the fully jay tar karon to hise ki is a carbon dioxide jeta produce hoy yete carbon dioxide to gas to olai ahile ki koy amar man ki bread ki hoy bread to fulai die etu karon to hetu sodium hydrogen carbonate is also an ingredient in antacids. Antacids means jibla ki kora hoy acidity tugile jibla upot koa hetu antacid bili koy being alkaline it neutralizes excess acid in the stomach and provides relief. So sodium hydrogen carbonate is also used as a the ingredient in antacids. Antacid bilakot ki thake ei sodium hydrogen carbonate eta composition hisabot thake. So it is also used in soda acid fire extinguisher. So as you know that whenever it is heated it will form carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide gas is known for the as a extinguisher. So carbon dioxide gas can extinguish fire. That is why it is also used in soda acid fire extinguisher. So fire extinguisher hisabe ya use kora hoy okay so uses kita mono rakhiba next aibo washing soda another chemical that can be obtained from sodium chloride is sodium carbonate decahydrate Na2CO2 10H2 washing soda boli koi to you have seen above that the sodium carbonate can be obtained by heating baking soda. Recrystallization of sodium carbonate gives washing soda. It is also a basic salt. Recrystallization. So what do you mean by recrystallization? So recrystallization koribole crystal salt block ti thake the crystal salt contains water molecules. So whenever it is heated then water molecules get evaporated okay then what will happen if you again add water on that salt? It will again form crystal. So this is called recrystallization. So আমি যেতিয়া crystal salt বিলাক কি কৰিম গৰম কৰিম তেতিয়া কি হ'ব তাত থকা water molecule evaporate হৈ যায় আকৌ যেতিয়া আমি তাত পানী দি দিম তেতিয়া হলে কি হয় আকৌ crystal হৈ যায়. So এটো recrystallization বুলি কৈছে. Recrystallization of sodium carbonate gives washing soda. So washing soda ঠিকানো তোমাৰ পানী water molecules আছে চাবা. It is also a basic salt. This is also a basic salt. কিয় basic salt হ'ব জানা? So কিয় basic salt হ'ব যে এটা sodium carbonate আছে মন কৰিবা sodium টো কৰ পৰা আহিছে sodium hydroxide which is a strong base and carbonate টো আহিছে তোমাৰ carbonic acid H2CO3 পৰা হয়. So reaction between sodium hydroxide and carbonic acid will give sodium carbonate. That is why it is a basic salt, because sodium hydroxide is strong base but the carbonic acid is a weak base. That is why due to the reaction of base strong base and a weak base the salt becomes basic in nature. Okay, থাকিব মনত এইখিনি কথা আগতে কৈছো এখানে ডিটেইলস কৈ থকা নাই acidic basic salt এৰি কেনেকৈ হয়. তাৰ পিছত আহিব what does 10H2O signify? এই যে H2 আসিলে সোডিয়াম কার্বন Na2CO3 10H2 এটো কি সিগনিফাই কৰিছে দিছে does it make Na2CO3 wet হয় ই হেমেকা কৰে নেকি হেমেকা ৰাখে নেকি এইটো 10H2 এটো কৰিছে we will address this question in the next section. আমি next sectionত পাম এটা তলতে আছে বাৰু sodium carbonate and sodium hydrogen carbonate are useful chemicals for many industrial process as well. So industrial process at use kora hoy. Next ami uses of washing soda. Uses of washing soda about sodium carbonate decahydrate. Okay, washing soda is is used in glass soap and paper industries. Glass soap or paper industry use kora hoy. Uses kita mon rakhiba I have exam ot ahe. It is used in the manufacture of sodium compounds such as borax. Borax তোমার কি করা হয় borax আমার প্ল্যান্টৰ কাৰণে বহুত দৰকাৰী হয় borax দিয়া হয় বিশেষ আমাৰ নাৰিকলৰ গছত যেতিয়া নাৰিকল নলগা হয় তেতিয়া কি কৰে নাৰিকলৰ গুৰিত ৰিং কৰি কিনে borax দিয়ে. This is one type of medicines for plants. So borax to ব্যৱহাৰ কৰা হয় borax to chemically manufacture korbar karone ki kora hoy washing soda use kora hoy. Sodium carbonate can be used as cleaning agent for domestic purposes. So sodium chloride hoy cleaning agent hoy. It is used for removing permanent hardness of water. So permanent hardness of water means tomar ki hoy sa hard mane hoise tomar ki pani water jetia bele kiba bostu dissolve hoy thakibo তেতিয়া হার্ড ওয়াটার বুলি কয় হেতু পানী যেনিবা তোমাৰ বালি হিল এনেকুৱা বা ধুলি এনেকুৱা মিহলি হৈ আছে তেতিয়া এটো কবা হার্ড ওয়াটার বুলি কব. সো হার্ড ওয়াটারে কি হয় হার্ড ওয়াটার বুলি কি হৈছে হার্ড ওয়াটারে তোমাৰ পানী যেতিয়া কাপোৰ হার্ড ওয়াটাৰত তুমি যেতিয়া কাপোৰ ধুব যাবা তেতিয়া কি হয় ফেন নুঠে সাবন দিলে ফেন নুঠে কিন্তু তোমাৰ কি হ'ব যদি তুমি ওয়াশিং সোডা দিয়া তেতিয়া হলে কি হয় এই হার্ড ওয়াটাৰটো কি হয় কাপোৰ ধুব পাৰি সেই কাৰণে পার্মানেন্ট হার্ডনেস কি কৰা হয় ৰিমুভিং পার্মানেন্ট হার্ডনেস বুলি কৈছে. পার্মানেন্ট হার্ডনেস মিন্স এই কথাটো কৈছে যে আমি তেনেকুৱা পানীটো কাপোৰ ধুব পাৰো কেতিয়া যেতিয়া আমি ওয়াশিং সোডা ইউজ কৰো. সো এখিনিলৈকে তোমালোকক কোৱা হল ইয়াৰ পিছত আৰু এটা crystals of salt dry, that is they contain some water molecules so they becomes dry or wet. এটো আমি নেক্সট পাম এখিনিলৈকে পঢ়িবা যেকিটা কোৱেশ্চন দিছিলো এনসাৰ মোক WhatsApp দি দিবা তাৰ পিছত মই নেক্সট হলে আগবাঢ়িম. থ্যাংক ইউ.